Today we're going to be talking about two radioactive lenses that I own. That's the Pentax Super Takumar 50mm 1.4 and the SMC Takumar 55mm 1.8. Now, not too long ago, I posted about these videos on my social media, and of course, one of the first things someone asked me was, is this the best lens? And you know what? There is no such thing as a best lens. I wish people would stop thinking that it's the best lens. And just because I have these lenses, I don't want people to go out and just buy them because, you know, their favorite photographer shoots with them. That's, who are we kidding? I'm no one's favorite. But anyways, here's the thing. These old vintage lenses are really, really cheap, and they're really good value. I mean, this is some of the best quality they had back then, and even to today, the quality is amazing if you don't mind shooting with the non-autofocus lens. But the thing is, a lot of people these days are shooting with mirrorless, and a lot of mirrorless cameras have like focus peaking. So it's really easy to just buy these old lenses, buy like a adapter for them, and start using them. They're very fun to use, and they're much cheaper than just buying these crazy expensive lenses. When you think about it, back in the old days, a photographer had to spend his whole salary to save up for one of these lenses. But now you can find the 51.4 on eBay for like $50. Now there's actually two different versions. There's the non-radioactive version, which is much older and much more expensive, like at least $200, 170, 200, depending on the quality of it. And this lens, the Pentax SMC Takumar 55mm 1.8, this one goes for around $30, and they ship mostly from Japan because like a lot of Pentax glass can be found in Japan quite easily. But anyways, these are not the best lenses, but the quality is very good and the price is really cheap. And the reason I like these lenses, not just because of the quality of the glass, but they're really, really, really fun to shoot with. I know this is something many people don't talk about. Like when people talk about glass online, all they do is shoot pictures of walls and try to find out the sharpness of a lens or whatever and all that boring stuff, or how fast is the autofocus. Oh, this lens focuses 0.03 nanoseconds faster than this lens, so it's much better, blah, blah, blah. But there's nothing like that. Like, these lenses force you to slow down and just enjoy photography, which is why I like them. They're really solidly built. The focus rings are really buttery smooth. If you've never used a focus ring in your life, they're so good. And the aperture clicks very, very, very nicely. Now, that being said, if you're looking to buy these lenses, the 51.4 was my favorite for the longest time, and it still is. The only issue I have with this lens is not really an issue, is that it's really hard to focus at 1.4. Like the depth of field on this lens is really, really, really hard to deal with, all right? But even with a mirrorless camera with focus peaking, it's a little hard. So usually when I shot with this lens, when I still shoot with this lens, I will shoot it stop down to like f2. And trust me, it gets much easier at f2 to focus with this lens. Then there's the 55mm 1.8. Believe it or not, I like this lens a little bit more than this one. And that's because this one costs less. It's like $20 less. But this is a 1.8 lens and this is a 1.4 lens. So of course it's going to be easier to focus this one. But I can shoot this one at f1.8 and it's much easier to focus than this one at f1.8. But the thing about this lens is like the bokeh is just super, super creamy, dreamy. For some people it's a little messy, but I actually like that. So it's really up to you. If you're like on a budget and you want to buy like really high quality glass, like this was the best of the best back in the day, and you can get it for 30 or $50. And like a lot of people don't know you can buy old vintage lenses and adapt them to like new cameras. You know, it's a way to save money. And yeah, I really love these lenses and I wanted to share them with you. Yes, they're radioactive, but you don't really have to worry about that. I believe I read somewhere that you'd have to eat around 780 bananas to just get dosage of radiation from one of these lenses. Because if you didn't know, radiation is pretty much everywhere. I mean, you ride on an airplane, you're getting way, way more than you'd ever get shooting all day from one of these. Way, way more than you get from shooting all year. And talking about X-rays, yeah, forget about it. But anyways, if you're curious about how radioactive radiation affects lenses and why they work the way they do, I have a video I made about that. I also have a video about all my old vintage Pentax glass, if you're interested in that kind of thing. Oh yeah, one more thing. If you've ever had a radioactive lens, they do tend to yellow over time. That's due to the fact that basically you got the electrons being shot up into the crystal structure of the glass, and then the electron stays there and it just absorbs the light and it ends up turning yellow over time. It's a whole video just on that, but like there's a way to de-yellow these lenses, and I actually also made a video about that. But the cheapest way is to leave it in the window for like a few weeks and let the sun clear the lens, right? I found that the 51.4 tends to yellow much more easily than the 1.8, but really it's all up to taste. You prefer 50 millimeters, super dreamy, super creamy, but hard to focus, or 55 millimeter 1.8. I mean, much easier to focus if you ask me, and you get the extra 5 millimeters to get closer to your subject. You know, they're both beautiful lenses, and yeah, no need to spend so much money on glass. You can buy all these old lenses really cheap online. You know, save a lot of money. You can thank me later. But anyways, like I say, these are not the best lenses, but they are among the best. I believe the 51.4 Super Takumar was rated among the best top 10 best vintage lenses, and you can find it for $50. But anyways, that's all we have for today. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Don't buy these just because I buy them. Buy them because you're interested in vintage lenses. I love vintage lenses. I have a whole collection of them. And yeah, enjoy.